What's up, guys? Matthew here, getting ready to watch episode 1 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. I am so excited for this. I do want to say just right now, if you're not one of those people who wants to hear any rambles or rants, um, just skip ahead to the chapter point in the video because I'm gonna go on probably a long rant. So just keep that in mind. Um, Game of Thrones is one of the shows that really hooked me. I mean, to this day, the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones is probably my peak of television. Without a doubt, my favorite first 4 seasons of a television show. No competition. Attack on Titan, but I don't really count that because it's the full show. Um, so, without a doubt, Game of Thrones is the greatest first 4 seasons of a show. That's not a complete show. Um, Obviously, okay, I've got the books there. I know I said it in a past video. I have read the Game of Thrones books 3 times, and this ramble is going to be all over the place. 'Cause I just have so many things to say. I've read the books 3 times. The book that I haven't read 3 times, which is also up there, is Fire and Blood. I've only read Fire and Blood 1 time. For those of you who have read Fire and Blood, you know that it's not. I wouldn't particularly say that it's a great read, just because it's more of like a historical summary rather than a narrative story. But another reason why I haven't read it, I read it right when it came out. Another reason I haven't reread it is because of this show. Um, I know some things. I know the big things, and we'll talk about some of the big things that I'm very hyped to see in the future very quickly, just to give you guys my mindset into this show real quick. And I'm going to give a review of season 1 because I obviously wasn't able to react to it with you guys. But I think that I wanted to, because with Game of Thrones and the main story of A Song of Ice and Fire, I know everything. You know what I mean? I've seen every video. I've read the books. I've broken down stuff. I've written theories. With Fire and Blood, I wanted to kind of keep that to a minimum because I was going to be able to see this entire show be aired episode to episode to episode. With Game of Thrones, I'd heard about Game of Thrones for years, many years, at the peaks of its popularity, and it wasn't until I think it was sometime in 2018 when I first heard that season 8, airing in 2019, would be its final season. And because of how much of a cultural phenomenon Game of Thrones is, not many shows have reached that peak. I think shows like the most modern comparison would be something like The Walking Dead, Lost, The Sopranos, the second half of season 5 of Breaking Bad. It's rare that a show really hits that level, and I wanted to be a part of that. Sadly, when I became a part of that, the gravy train ran off the rails, so to speak. Season 8 was not, and I don't want to turn this into a whole rant about season 8, but I do want to share my opinions of Game of Thrones as a whole, just to get you into the mindset of what I expected with House of the Dragon. Like I said, the first 4 seasons of the show were so good, and like, you can't simplify it to one thing. It wasn't because the show stopped adapting the original information and details, because season 4 is wildly off the books. Like, it's not particularly close to it, but it's still good. It's still done right for the most part. There's obviously a couple slip-ups, especially season 4, episode 10, The Children. That's when you can sort of pinpoint every problem. It's back to that episode, and they ruined Tyrion's arc and character for the rest of the show. But I could genuinely talk for hours about this, but I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum. So all that being said, Game of Thrones airs its final season in 2019, and so disappointed. So disappointed, but it leads me to reading the books, and in the 5 years since I've read the books 3 times, I've read all of the supplementary books, all the extra details, even like stuff that's not even necessarily 100% canon. Just stuff about the world and stuff like that. And to this day, this show at its peak, Game of Thrones, is my favorite show of all time. Obviously, the ending and the flops that it incurred have dropped it. You know what I mean? But I want to repeat it. At its peak, it's the best for me. And then they announced House of the Dragon, and I do want to say real quick, I am very hyped for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Phenomenal source material on that. And then I also just heard George R. R. Martin talked about Thousand Ships with Nymeria being greenlit or something like that. I do hope that that comes to fruition. I think that would be a phenomenal story to tell with not a lot of information on it. It'd be an interesting time period to learn about. But when I heard that this show was airing, I was very excited because, quite honestly, the Dance of the Dragons was one of my favorite lore bits, and one that I think that it was the easiest adaptation into a show. And I was immediately, I don't want to say that I knew it would be good, but I had faith. Just purely from the fact that I think that HBO knows that they messed up or someone messed up Game of Thrones. And it's so shocking how a cultural phenomenon as big as Game of Thrones vanished from the public spotlight that fast. That's how much goodwill it broke that fast. But I was so confident that this show was going to be good. And whether it be irrational confidence because I really wanted it to be good, I don't know. But season 1 did end up being good. Now, I will say, and I'm not going to pick apart the first season, because I do want to focus on the positives. I'm going to say the one thing that I really didn't like, or two things. Maybe I grow to 3 or 4, but I do have a couple things. Just baseline, I think that it should have been 2 seasons. I know that the main point of this story that they're going to tell is what's starting in this season, the Dance of the Dragons, and the setup is so long and complex that they kind of wanted to rush it and condense it into one season, which I don't blame them. And honestly, it probably saved them money and time and all that, but as a Song of Ice and Fire nerd, I would have wanted it to go an extra season. But I was supremely happy with season 1, and I do want to detail some of my thoughts on season 1. First and foremost, the thing that just stood out to me right away, Paddy Considine. Oh my goodness, what an actor. Being able to take a one-dimensional character from the books in a, quite honestly, especially the way it's told, a one-dimensional story. I mean, the point of the Fire and Blood book isn't to tell a good story, it's to give information, with it being a sort of parody history book. But I thought that the way that the writers, and specifically Paddy Considine, was able to elevate that one character. I mean, obviously the most famous scene, him entering the throne room. Oh my goodness. It should have been nominated for something. It's a shame that he was not nominated. But, nominations nowadays, I mean, utter shame. It is fraudulent that Better Call Saul didn't win a single Emmy, but I won't get into that. I'll focus on House of the Dragon right now. But like I said, I thought that season 1 was really well done. A little rushed at points, but again, I can't blame them that much because the main point of this story that they're telling is the Dance of the Dragon. It is the Civil War. It's not the build-up. It's not the marriages. It's not the this. It's not the that. It's that. I do want to focus on some problems that I had with it. Ones that I hope will be fixed. The one that's immediate, the one that I think is already a major misstep that they could use. It's already a misstep, but they could use. And it's the most controversial scene of the first season. The Rhaenys scene, where her and her dragon burst through and kill thousands of peasants. And then the next episode says that it's not her war. And then I know what's going to happen. And what happened in the season finale, she's in the war. So, I think that is one of those spectacle scenes. Ones that wasn't really thought out They just wanted to have something big happen. Um, but and There'll be a couple moments in this. From this point forward, if you are someone who's not caught up with the book content, instead of giving you a whole bunch of timestamps to keep skipping back and forth, I would just recommend that you go to the reaction right now, because I am going to talk about the source material. So, you have been warned, so to speak. Um, I think that scene can be salvaged if it is a major focal point of the Shepherd's storyline and the storming of the dragon pits. I think that is not only is it the only way to salvage it, but I have faith that they're going to salvage it that way. Because I feel like that's such an easy connection. I feel like everybody who's read the source material and has really had a problem with that scene, that's the immediate fix. It's something that you have to do. You just have to have that as one of the main reasons for the Shepherd sort of leading the King's Landing revolt. So I think that's an easy fix. Another problem that I had, and I want to cut the problem with a compliment, so to speak. I think that one of this show's best ideas was the aging of Alicent and the pairing and relationship with Rhaenyra. I think that, because if you're still not here, or I mean, if you still haven't read the books and you're still listening to this, so I guess I'm sort of educating you. But Alicent's character is more of an evil stepmother, you know what I mean, character, to Rhaenyra, whereas in this it's that childhood best friend, and I think that is a phenomenal choice. My one problem with that is that they have pushed Alicent as the main character of her side. It's Rhaenyra versus Alicent. When Aegon II, with as little material as we've got from him in Fire and Blood, is one of my favorite fictional characters that George R. R. Martin has created. I don't even know how to explain it into a way, because I don't want to go on a 20-minute rant. But I think that his ideas and his... I don't know. I'm going to simplify it. I think that he's a really damn good character who deserves focus, who deserves spotlight, and he has not been given the spotlight necessary to a character as good as his. And I'm not saying that they, push Alicent to the background and don't need to focus on her, because I love Alicent. Alicent was either my second, third, or fourth favorite character from last season. I don't remember my exact rankings. But this season, I really hope that Aegon is pushed to the forefront. I mean, it kind of really felt like that they were making the Greens the bad guys and the Blacks the good guys. Cut and dry. You know what I mean? Except for Alicent. And especially Aegon. They made Aegon so terrible. I mean, I don't even know what he was. Don't remember exact specifics. He was making kids fight. And he was raping people, and what I mean, not that he was a good person in the books, but he wasn't comic book evil. You know what I mean? So I hope that they sort of go back on that. Something I loved in the books was his genuine care for his kids. I think that needs to be shown. And another thing that I really, really, really need, something I'm really hoping for, is his relationship with his dragon, the most beautiful dragon, the greatest dragon that's ever been shown in any Song of Ice and Fire lore. Sunfire needs to be given their goddamn respect. I will say that. Going along with the kids part, I was semi-disappointed with Criston Cole. I liked his character and I liked the route that it took. My only problem, I really wish he was... His name is the goddamn Kingmaker. He's famously known throughout the A Song of Ice and Fire's main story that he made Aegon king. You know what I mean? He was the main thing that started that, and I'm disappointed that was not shown, that was not portrayed, I will say. But I was a fan of Criston Cole's character. Not top 10, but I'm very interested to see his role in this story. Again, I'm sort of going through all the characters here. Helena needs more screen time. I really hope that they give her screen time, especially with this episode being named A Son for a Son. I really hope that they give her focus. I don't know the timeline of when, because something is going to happen in this episode. I don't know the timeline of when the big thing for Helena happens next. I don't remember exactly when it happens, but I hope that there's enough time for her to showcase a good character. And is that Fia Sabin, or am I confusing? I don't know. But I have high hopes for her character. I'm very interested in Alice Rivers. Interested in Aemond. I could go on and on about characters like Daemon. I love Daemon. I loved Rhaenyra. I was so happy. I want to look at my notes here because I don't want to miss anything that I'm saying. I think I have hit everything on that note that I've wanted to talk about. The final thing that I wanted to talk about, and obviously as I watch the show and as I see things and this, and I'm not going to go into super duper detail about all of these. I just wanted to give you some of the moments that I'm looking forward to most in this adaptation, and whether it happens in season 2, season 3, season 4, if it does happen, because they can end the show in a plethora of different points. One of my favorite characters in the book, Tywin Lannister. I hope that they give him some shine over the next 3 seasons. I think that he's one of my favorite minor characters of the whole A Song of Ice and Fire world, especially with what happens to him, and how badass he is. Oh, and that's okay. Well, it goes into this. Obviously, some of the blank slate, like of course, Hour of the Wolf, Rook's Rest, all these different battles that take place and moments. I cannot wait for. The 3 biggest moments that I cannot wait for. And I really want to preface this by saying, if you have not read the books at this point, because I'm going to be ranting for like another 2 minutes, and then we're on to the reaction. I don't want to spoil you here. Please go ahead, because I'm getting into bona fide spoilers right here. I cannot wait for Butcher's Ball. Specifically, again, spoilers, please. The death of the Kingmaker, Criston Cole, is one of my all-time favorite deaths in fiction. The emotions that it elicits, and just how blunt and disappointing, almost anticlimactic, it fits his character so well. And I really want them to focus on that. I'm interested to see another thing that they're going to show is Cregan Stark. I'm pretty sure he's in this episode. I think they made a whole big deal about him being in this episode. I wonder. I'm going on another slight tangent here. Characters like Cregan Stark and Rhaenyra in the books, they don't honestly do a lot. They're very passive characters. Cregan, obviously, because of travel time, and Rhaenyra just because she's Rhaenyra. One of the most passive characters I've ever read in a book. She didn't do anything in the entire story. And obviously, in the sense of Rhaenyra, they're going to give her a whole bunch more so that she's more active. But I do wonder if Cregan is going to get more involved in the war faster instead of just traveling and then bodying the end. I mentioned the Hour of the Wolf and how big of a part he plays at the very, very, very end of the story. But again, just blanks. Going back to the beginning, Butcher's Ball is one of my most anticipated moments. Should happen in season 3, I believe, if I'm remembering the timelines correctly here. My second thing that I'm looking forward to, and honestly, this is everyone's most looked forward to thing, but I have a love for this one moment. But I cannot wait for the Battle Above the God's Eye. It has the potential to be one of the most iconic scenes in television history, without a doubt. Okay? It will cement Daemon as one of the greatest characters in the history of TV. I'm predicting this. I'm predicting and I'm hoping, because Daemon, Matt Smith, was so goddamn good in season 1. I cannot wait for that moment. Especially with, I gotta give him props. How good Eamon was in his short time span. I also want to give a shout out real quick to all the younger actors. They all did a fantastic job in that season. But the final evolution, the Pokemon evolution of that for Eamon's character, led him into the most Chad, amazing character you could have ever asked for. And I cannot wait for their battle. And I cannot wait for Damon to take that fucking sword straight through his goddamn eyeball, dude. I don't want to get... Oh, my... I cannot wait. That's not... I'm going to write that down real quick. Because I do want to speak about that final thing before I get to the reaction. I'm sorry. I told you guys I was going on a rant. My final thing, my most looked forward to thing. Spoilers. Please do not still be here, guys. Please don't still be here if you don't want to get spoiled. 3, 2, 1. Rhaenyra's death. Oh my god. One of my all-time favorite moments, and that moment right there is one of the reasons why I love Aegon so much as well, because Aegon's line that he says right before it happens is one of my favorite lines that I've ever read in a book. My jaw dropped when I was reading it. Like, such an amazing quote, such an amazing moment. And I did real quick, I talked about Aegon. I couldn't really put into words why. I mentioned Rhaenyra's passiveness. I loved Aegon's activeness. And how, like, you would expect him to be a coward. You would expect him to be a chicken shit. You would expect him to not do anything. But he does. He steps up. Okay, and we're going to see the moment that he steps up. Sometime at the end of the season, I believe, if I'm getting the timelines correctly. But that moment of him in the throne, it's so badass. Okay, and that line that he says is badass. And, oh my god. I really hope that they do Aegon correctly here. I know that the actor is so goddamn good for Aegon. I really hope that he gets some shine. I heard some things that he does get the shine in the season. I'm very excited about that. And then leading into my final thing, I don't look into any research or spoilers about this show. I know, just like the Game of Thrones season 8 when it was airing, this is a show that's so popular it's rampant with spoilers. I mean, it's impossible to contain the spoilers of the show, so I try to stay as far away from possible. Obviously, it's content that I already know what happens, so I'm not really that scared of being spoiled, but I don't like to be spoiled. That being said, I do want to talk about two characters. Daeron, who I'm pretty sure is not going to be in this season, although he's promised. Everybody has promised that he is in the show. And I do want to say that is a major misstep. Him not being in season 1 is a major misstep. Him not being talked about or anything is a major misstep. One that needs to be fixed now. It needs to be fixed immediately with 100% certainty. And then the biggest misstep that they're about to make, that I'm pretty sure that I've heard, is that Nettles is not going to be in the show. That is... I haven't really had a platform to rant about stuff like this, an adaptation where they take things away. Nettles is one of the absolute best parts of Fire and Blood. She is one of the best parts of Daemon's character, and to not have Nettles in the show is a utter travesty. I'm not saying that this show is going to be terrible or bad or I'm disappointed. I'm sure it's still going to be great. I'm sure that they're going to find a way to do certain storylines. But I'm very disappointed with that, and I hope that and all the rumors and stuff that I've heard, I hope that we are proven wrong, because Nettles is one of the absolute best parts of that story. And then another slight thing, I'm not going to go into a huge rant on it. Laenor's dragon, Sea Smoke, what's going on with that? I mean, come on now. But okay. That was my rant. Okay, again, if I have any comments about Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, or if you guys want to discuss Game of Thrones with me, moments in that, have any questions or my opinions, I will gladly answer anything, because I am so passionate about the show, and especially the books. Come on, George, give us number 6. But I'm just gonna hop straight. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna finally get into the reaction. Season 2, episode 1, A Son for a Son. We know what's about to happen. I talked about moments that I'm most hyped to see. I forgot to mention I'm ready. I am ready for it. Let's get into it. Harold Westerling. I'm very interested to see his storyline. I don't want them to just do a rehash of Barristan's storyline from Game of Thrones, but I think that's probably what they're gonna do. Sadly. I can't wait for Cargyle Bowl. Don't like that moment. It's the only moment that I was very negative against in season 1.
We must remind these lords of the oaths they swore.
And this moment, I did not talk about this moment. Oh my god. One of the best moments in the last 7 years of Game of Thrones television. Something that I'm scared of. With that moment, I think it's okay, but I'm scared that they're taking all the agency out of characters. Let's go. Oh, man. Winterfell, bro. Assume we're going to start the season off with Jace and Cregan.
Duty is sacrifice. It eclipses all things.
Oh my god, he's got that Jon voice. I got goosebumps.
Winter is coming.
Coming? What is this then that falls from the skies and shivers my bones?
This is only a late summer snow, my prince.
I like the look of Cregan. I don't know the actor, but glad they fixed Jace's hair.
The High Tower's plan to usurp the throne. If my mother is to defend her claim, to hold the realm united, she needs an army. War is coming. To the whole of the realm, my lord. We cannot wage it without...
There's just something about this show, man. This show in Game of Thrones. Like, even when it was bad in the later seasons, it still holds you. It still captivates you.
Do you think my ancestors built a 700-foot wall of ice to keep out snow and savages?
What does it keep out?
Death.
I know some are very angry, or not even angry, but not caring about scenes involving the White Walkers and all that in the wall because of how it ends. But one of my skills of watching television is that I can tune out the future. And right now, in this moment, it's interesting to me.
Like Northerners.
A raven's arrived.
Uh-oh. I love this theme so much. My favorite theme from Game of Thrones is Misa.
If my dragon and yours together, we can kill Vagar and her rider. Make it a son for a son.
Was this the Queen's command?
The Queen remains absent.
A raven that brought me news of Lena's death. I existed for weeks in torment, refusing to believe what I'd been told.
This fucking dialogue is so good, dude.
A raven has told Rhaenyra that her son is dead. She needs to know it for certain.
She was a fool to go alone. What if Aemond were to happen upon her?
Then I would pity Aemond.
If you'd have acted when you had the chance, Aegon's line would be extinguished.
He's spitting. It's not my fight. It's not my war. I'll make jokes this entire season, but I loved Rhaenys' character.
They tell me that you're the one that dragged my body out of the sea. Only my duty. I am indebted to you. Alan.
Need to see me some Hugh Hammer. I need to see Nettles, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, baby girl.
Where is your Harris?
Attending his lessons.
And those aware?
What do you need of him?
Taken into the small council. He'll be king one day, he must begin his instruction.
Where is he?
I'm afraid.
Don't be. They'd be fools to come with Vagar protecting the city.
Not the dragons. The rats.
No, baby girl, no. I'm so sorry. Because of what's about to happen, another one of my small complaints is the lack of focus on some of these characters, especially like the children. Because of such an emotional moment is going to happen. What the hell is going on? Was that Kristen? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. First of all, that is wild as hell. Second, Kristen didn't want to be a side piece, so... I mean, Kristen didn't want to be a side piece to Rhaenyra, so I would sure assume that he doesn't want to be a side piece to Alicent. So I'm interested to see how this is going to happen. And if he will throw a tantrum when he does not get what he wants again. I forget where I was going. Oh. Oh. You missed your chance, Tywin. I love me some Tywin Lannister.
Good morrow, my lord.
It is. This does feel slightly retconny, but I am loving Aegon so far.
My brother is raising the strength of the West.
Take it again.
The Golden Tooth, but we.
That's very helpful.
Regrettably, the opportunity for surprise has been lost.
Otto, probably my favorite character of season 1. He plays that Littlefinger. He's like Littlefinger / Tywin. Not as smart, you know what I mean? But I do love that archetype of character. Very Machiavellian.
The King's Landing is through the Riverlands. We must establish a toehold there.
He about to get some game up in the Riverlands. That's all I'm about to say.
You've already demonstrated your might, Your Grace. You must now favor patience and restraint. I send ravens by the hour.
We know where this guy's going. Uh-oh.
I am satisfied I have exposed all who betrayed our trust.
What of them?
They no longer breathe our air. I've chosen your new staff personally.
I love Olivia Cook so much. People who say that the actor switch is a mistake need to put some respect on their fucking name. That's all I'm gonna say.
King Aegon. Aegon the Magnanimous.
The Magnanimous?
Perhaps we could just return his sheep. He came all this way.
If you return one herd of sheep, Your Grace, you'll soon find them all at the foot of your throne expecting the same.
They won't know.
When the king speaks, Your Grace, all hear it.
Otto, let me tell you what. First episode, I knew that this show was back when Otto opened his mouth. And, oh man. The gods have yet to make a man who lacks the patience for absolute power. The minute I heard that line, I knew.
Hugh, Your Grace.
Oh! My Hugh?
I wonder, do you have a moment for a quiet word?
I know what he does.
As we find ourselves standing within a hair's breadth of war that you would wish to be viewed differently.
How?
Otto Hightower was your father's hand, regret.
It's victory.
And how would you define victory?
Rhaenyra bending the knee, and Aegon sitting the Iron Throne in peace, as Viserys wished.
Well, if that's how you describe it, then we are aligned.
Then be my ally.
I am.
An ally would not repeatedly cut my legs from beneath me at that table of men. Aegon is ever eager to prove himself, and Aemond is angry.
I do hope to see Aemond's storyline change a little bit from the book so that he does more. He's sort of like Rhaenyra in the sense of doesn't do that much, except their moments.
But if you undermine my voice, both those boys will grow deaf to it.
I hadn't seen it that way.
We only need to mind Aegon until the novelty of rule is spent. Once he tires of it, you and I can steer our cause to victory.
A fine strategy, Walter.
Rhysifans, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, is such an actor. He has the most presence in this show. It does help that his role, his character archetype, is my favorite archetype.
You.
When last we met, there were two of you.
The White Worm.
Did you think I would wither in your absence?
I did not think you would flower a traitor.
You speak of highborn games. I am commonborn.
I like the accent change. Settle down a little bit.
Business that ended with the theft of the Queen's throne and the murder of her son.
You only blame me because your true enemies are out of
It's okay, Damon. She gonna redeem herself in a couple minutes.
Have her moved to the cells. She is to be treated as a traitor to the crown.
Forgive me, my prince, but the lady speaks the truth. She was no agent of the Hightowers.
What is it to you?
A matter of honor.
Was it honor that made you stand by and watch as the Hightowers usurped the throne? You and your traitorous twin?
No, my prince.
I love how snappy and sassy Damon is.
I abandoned the King's Guard and my brother and came here.
I don't care. Aegon was in your grasp. You should have killed him yourself.
I reckon I went into the King's Guard at just 8 and 10. And we swore the same oath to defend the whole of the royal family. So what were we to do when they turn against one another?
Oh, Matt Smith, dude. Oh my god. I gotta learn Eric's name, actor's name as well, because that was a phenomenal scene from him. Come on, Rhaenyra, show me what you're about to do. Please have her be involved with what's about to happen.
Did you find what you needed?
I want Aemond Targaryen.
Emma is such a phenomenal actor. Her look at the end of season 1, oh my god. I wonder, because I know what's about to happen. It sort of seems like she's really going for Aemond here. I wonder if that's going to be either a change or an accident that happens throughout, a change of plans. Maybe changes the target.
In your years as merchant of gossip, you surely accumulated spies within the Red Keep, servants who knew the comings and goings.
Scheme with someone else, Damon. I was once in your thrall, but no longer.
A transaction, then. Your knowledge in exchange for your freedom.
Back already?
Lady Jane Arryn has pledged her support in exchange for a dragon to guard the Vale. And Lord Cragen Stark,
I'm tearing up.
2,000 men.
Oh, I'm tearing up. Colette is an. I'm very. These younger actors who were sort of given only a couple episodes last season, I'm very hopeful that they show off. Especially Tom. Oh, you gonna flashback to the scene from season 1? Was it episode 2 or was that in episode 1? Is it time? The foreshadowing for this moment last season was very prevalent. Oh, I love this.
A tribute. Commander. Never gone for long.
I love how loyal they are to him.
How deep your debts? Michael's tunnels.
Hope we get a Maegor show in the future.
Tonight he's going to be your friend. You're to find and slay the Prince Aemon Targaryen. He has silver hair and one eye. Should be easy enough to find. But I understand he's quite good in a fight. You want to take caution. It's one half. We'll get the other when it's done.
This is a change from the books. A big change. The target is different. Let's see if it happens.
What if we can't find him?
Oh, I know what he said. I know what he said, man.
She blames me for starting this war, after she plotted with my father's council to usurp his throne.
I am pissed off that they took Alicent's agency out of the crowning of Aegon, I will say. I don't remember Blood being a member of the City Watch. I don't remember that. I could be mistaken here, but just something I'm pointing out. Okay, I do like how they've done this, where they gave... Rhaenyra was a part of it and planned it, but something's going to go wrong here. But Daemon is the one who actually picked the second choice here. I cannot wait to see Aegon next episode.
How do we get upstairs?
The royals live up there.
Right.
Well, it's off limits, it is. It's worthy upstairs.
If we're to kill a royal fucking prince, where do you think we're gonna find him?
I got you in the castle. The rest was your bet.
I could end you right here. Take the rest of the gold myself.
I know I upstairs. I just don't know my way round.
Show me.
Yo! Well, I'm glad at what's going to happen to this gentleman. I'm going to be honest. I want them to show it. And it better be just like the books. Oh, my blood's racing, my heart's pumping.
For the rats.
Stay still.
No.
Who the fuck is she?
She's the queen, she is.
Oh, it's happening.
He said. Or does she look like a fucking son to you?
Over there.
No! Don't show me, but show me, but don't show me, please. Oh, baby Jairus, no. Please do the choosing. Please do the choosing.
Maybe that one.
We'll look for a cock.
Oh, she's gonna be scarred from this.
Which?
Yes! Yes!
It's of great value.
That's not a son.
Oh, I feel so bad for her.
Wait. It's the other one. She's not going to give up the king's heir that easy.
No. She's telling true.
Hold him down.
Oh my god. I've been waiting for this scene for years, and just watching it, I can't, dude, I'm panicking. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is heartbreaking. My heart sunk. I feel so bad for her.
Helena! What's happened?
They killed the boy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh man. That episode was fantastic. It's the best time of the year. It's the best time of the year. There's no greater joy than seeing, well, I'll start off with this. There's no greater sadness and anger than your favorite show ending for the season, going away for a couple months. But there's no greater joy than watching it come back. It really, it makes you look forward to something every week, and that episode lived up to the hype. A moment like Blood and Cheese. For the discussion, I'm not going to spoil any book stuff here, and if I do decide to do that, I'm going to give you a warning. So please, if you stay for the discussion, a moment like that, it's one of the most iconic moments in A Song of Ice and Fire's whole world. Okay, it's one of George's magnum opus scenes, if you will. And it's something that I, like most people, have been looking forward, okay, to this scene for so long. I don't think I've ever had a scene, because House of the Dragon is a very weird show, or in the sense of it's the first show that I've ever watched that I'm watching it be adapted. I read the source material years ago, okay? It was the first show that I ever had expectations going into it airing, and watching it weekly. Since then, The Last of Us, one of my third favorite video game of all time, the first one. Since then, I've watched that show as it aired. But this moment, it's one of those. I'm not gonna say it's on par with a Red Wedding, not on par with a Ned, but it's up there. I think it would have been. I think that this is a legendary. I think that that was an excellent scene that could have been legendary given a little more focus on these characters last season. But I'm not gonna nitpick. Being in the moment, that right there was fantastic. But I've never had a scene that I was looking forward to, not because I want to see a child die, but because I was anticipating it so much, and then immediately almost regret wanting it. My heart sunk into my chest. I mean, I joked that I wanted to see it, but just hearing it was haunting. I really hope that Helena gets focus here. I'm so interested to see what Aegon does, especially considering the fact that he was drunk during this whole exchange. I wonder if it's going to push him to being less of a drunkard, because I feel like part of his story, and at least what it should be, because of how much they made him such a shitty person in the first season, and obviously he's a bad person in the books, but he wasn't that shitty. I hope that they sort of try to go on a slight redeeming tour, especially when you get to some of his badass moments later in the show. But I do wonder that the Alicent and Kristen relationship, I'm very interested in, because I would assume that this did not happen when Viserys was, you know what I mean? Season 1, it felt really much like a, not friend, but like, I don't know how to explain it because it's such a weird relationship. But I understand this affair. I am wondering on the Kristen side, because the whole point of Kristen sort of being this, high school drama girl last season was... Oh, and real quick, something I really didn't like last season was him killing Joffrey at the wedding instead of the attorney. I wanted to say that real quick. Hated that last season. But, his whole being with Rhaenyra, he didn't want to be a side piece. I would assume he feels the same way now. But maybe he's matured and, Alicent is a completely different woman than Rhaenyra. He could have a completely different relationship with her. So I do hope that gets expanded more upon. I'm gonna look it up at the end, but I'm almost positive. I'll look it up right now. That her actor's name is Fia Sabin. Yeah, it's Fia Sabin. I just wanted to make sure that I was 100% certain, because I need to give her some props. What a scene! It lived up to the hype. Maybe a little shorter than I would have liked it, but it lived up to the hype. The dread. Dread is one of those feelings. It's one of my favorite in fiction and narrative, especially television, because it's so hard to achieve it well. And it hit. It hit. It's one of those things where I want dread, and then when I'm feeling it, I'm like, oh no. because that scene right there was fantastic. And like I said, I don't think my heart's dropped that much in a long, long time with television. I'm not going to go on a list of moments like that because I don't want to spoil other shows, but that was damn good. I'm interested to see what Damon's going to do this season. Again, I said that I read Fire and Blood years ago. I don't remember the exact timelines. I only remember the big moments, and I don't really want to review it because I almost want to watch the show like it's blind, because that's my favorite way to watch a show, is to go in completely blind. Obviously, I can't, but I'm going to try. Try not to review anything. I'm going to be honest. I'm in complete and utter not shock, because I knew it was going to happen, but shock at how good the scene was. I don't really have a lot of stuff going through my head other than that scene. That was really that one scene just dominates the whole episode. So I'm going to keep the discussion to a minimum this episode. Give me some time to collect my feelings, and next week for next episode I will have probably not as long as this episode, but I will try to have a little longer discussion prepared for the beginning. So my chest is still feeling the effects of that scene. I'm gonna sign off. Thank you guys for watching the video. I'm very excited to watch season 2 and season 3 and season 4 and any other spin-offs that HBO does for Game of Thrones. Night of the Seven Kingdoms, 1,000 Ships, any of those. I'm gonna be hyped to watch it with you guys. Very excited for that. If you guys liked the video, I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like and left a comment. And I got a Patreon in the description. Multiple weeks ahead on some of the shows I'm watching. If you guys are interested in checking that out, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week for episode 2 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. You guys have a good one.